The Lighthouse is written and directed by Robert Eggers and stars Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe, and it has Pattinson and Defoe play these two wiki workers who work on this island off the coast of New England and are there to basically serve as a contract job for a wiki for 4 weeks. And basically, as you see in the trailers, they
They're
end up
looking
basically.
over. They're looking at over the lighthouse in the movie as the plot, and also it's kind of like The Shining in a way, where you have Jack Nicholson looking over the overlook. These guys are paid to look over the lighthouse.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking too from the similarities. Yeah, and then basically as the course of the story, it becomes pretty much a psychological thriller to where they slowly dive into pretty much insanity. And there's some questionable things that I'm not going to go into spoiler with that kind of digs deep into whether or not these guys are pretty much losing their minds or something else has happened that we don't know about. Now,
Exactly. It's kind of like, yeah, it gives you like ambiguous, like if they're really seeing things like creature-ish, oceanish stuff, or are they suffering from what Jack Nicholson did in The Shining, where they're having that cabin fever, where they're stuck so long.
yeah. Now here's a little backstory. Now this movie was directed by Robert Eggers, who a few years ago he directed one of my favorite horror films of the decade, which was The Witch. And ever since I saw that film, and like that, from his first movie that I saw from this director already showed a lot of talent with basically creating not only an atmospheric level of filmmaking, but also telling
Yeah.
a very different type of storytelling that's very uncommon with a lot of compared to other horror films that I've seen. And with this movie,
Yeah. Me, when I watched it, I liked the folklore. I loved how it was shot, and I loved like the witches at the end, and I loved like the folklore feel it was trying to go for. My only problem I really had in the movie that kind of bugged me a little was I felt like it was boring at times. Like it was just so stretched out. So I ended up being it was okay for me on the witch, but I still wanted to see this because I liked how in this film when I saw the trailers with Lighthouse, where they're going for like that 30s black and white 5 millimeter shot kind of type of vibe. And I thought, and in the casting as well. So I was really looking forward to this. I like it when some films take the different kind of take and go for old style, black and white.
yeah, exactly, and it really got me interested too because it also showed that Robert Pattinson, who's has made his career in the last decade, proven himself to be a well great actor, and ever since he's done Good Time, and hell, and even we didn't talk about this in one of our other reviews. Ever since he also did that movie, the City of Lost Z, which was another good one he was in. It shows that he has a lot of great range as an actor, and with this film,
Yeah.
I've seen the trailers for it. It showed pretty much no exception to that. And
Exactly. And ever since I saw him in Good Times and Lost City of Z, and I've gained a lot of respect for him. He's not the sparkly vampire from Twilight. Like a lot of people don't want to, they don't want to leave that notification of who he is. He's more than that.
yeah,
And I'm glad that he's proven people wrong, and I do want to keep seeing him play in other roles. I for one want to see how he is in Batman.
yeah,
So
me
I
too.
can't wait. But anyways, yeah, going into this film, I will say that I liked it. It was good. I do have some flaws with it though, but
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's really I don't really know what I like more with either this or The Witch because I look at them as kind of like similar on points, but also they're kind of really different films altogether as far as the director's work. But I gotta admit,
Yeah,
like this movie, I really thought was really outstanding. Now it's got some questionable things and some stuff that I can kind of like see some problems with, but for the most
yeah,
part, I had a hell of a fucking good time, great watch with
yeah.
this.
To me, I felt like the plot and the casting and the people they chose just it kept me more invested in this story than it did with the witch. So I actually enjoyed this a little bit, a lot more than The Witch. But to get into our pros, William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson were fucking outstanding in this film. Honestly, I got to give the first half to the film for William Dafoe. He was fucking man. He was brilliant in that first half, and I mean he was brilliant in the whole movie. I'm just saying, I kind of liked William Dafoe in the first half because like he was just like awesome, man. Like he was fucking out there. Second half where Robert Pattinson's going, kind of you see him deteriorating. I give the second half to Robert Pattinson more. So they
Yeah.
both were fucking phenomenal in this film.
That's a great compare. That's a great way of showing it. Yes, I agree with that. They're both equal on point. Their performances are so captivating, and you really dig deep into like two guys that are basically stranded on an island. And this is basically if you took Castaway and made it to where you had Tom Hanks and it turned the volleyball into a human being. You know, imagine taking that and turn it into a horror movie. It's basically on that mentality.
And I enjoyed the cabin feverish feel they were going through where, they're two guys. William Defoe's a captain. He's kind of a dickhead. And you hear that he's kind of had pasts where other people, because Robert Pattinson's playing like the captain's little mate that does all the bitch work. And he's having him like bring up the oil to keep the light on. He's making him do all kinds of fucking stupid shit just to work him to death. And you can kind of see like they're bantering, like they're not liking each other. And then there's alcohol involved, and then some bizarre shit happens, and you see them really deteriorate in their mind and saying you can kind of see like the whole cabin feverish feel to them. So absolutely. I really enjoyed that whole plot, watching them fucking deteriorate, and the story plot points of how they build up to that and they get to that point was done very well.
Absolutely. And another good appreciation I like too is not only did the closed setting like work so well with them being, stranded on this island but also just I got to give it really credit with the way that the director, Robert Eggers, was able to not only shoot the film on 35 millimeter film, make it look like it was shot in the 20s and 30s, but also just the really haunting like atmosphere he puts these guys in where we're starting to get in the mind of these guys, whether they're, actually, seeing stuff or just seeing all the weird imagery that they go throughout the movie. And that also comes into play with the way that there's scenes where we're not going to spoil anything, but when it involves at the lighthouse, I got to admit, man, there was some fucking creepy, intense scenes that I was having like on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some anxiety-based scenes in this movie where you see in some pretty good imagery, scary, creepy-ass fucking imagery. You don't know if it's there or if the lighthouse is haunted or if he's just going straight up mad. You can actually probably argue it could be all three, maybe more just he's going mad because they're getting cabin fever. But you can feel the sense of loneliness, and it really fucking does it good. But it also got to give it credit with, like I said earlier, the black and white, 35 millimeter. Look, old time look to it. And not only that, because speaking of The Shining, the score sounded just like something from The Shining.
I was going to get to that too, yes. Absolutely. I was going to get to that too. That sounded very akin to The Shining parts, especially the parts when you're seeing the scenes when Robert Pattinson is having to go up the stairs trying to get to the lighthouse. Like there's a score that reminds me straight out of The Shining where it's like that scene in the hallway where Danny's in the motel and he's going to that room. Kind of reminds me of that scene.
And the way they put it, the sound and dubbed it into the movie kind of reminds me how they used to dub sounds back in the old days in those black and white movies. So that was a good kind of like a little kind of hint if you know what you're looking for. Instead of score. So that was pretty good. This movie is bizarre too because like they're going mad. You're seeing guys just drinking and deteriorating and then you don't know if they're going to fucking go at each other's throats. And not to spoil anything, just it ain't really a big plot point, but there's a lot of fucking jacking off scenes.
Yeah.
You tell like the deprived, which I like that because you see the deprived of like, the men that, they're deprived of women, they haven't had any in a long time. So that adds on to like the more kind of creepiness of if we were in that situation.
Well, and also, and this is my biggest thing because I can't discuss it without going to spoil, but there is some good points that I did see about the ending of the film that I actually made me see the film in a whole new light. That I kind of actually like the movie way more now that I interpret it because the movie
You know
builds
what? There's
upon.
also something else in this film that had something hints of The Shining, and it's with an axe. I'm not gonna say what happens. So I'm gonna go for maybe the guy took a lot of inspiration for Stanley Kubrick in this film.
Yeah,
There's
I can
too
see that.
many plot. There's too many fucking egg hints to fucking Shining Kubrick's version. There's like 20 things I could point out. Shining, shining, shining,
Yeah,
shining. So you could tell that was fucking used big time. But yeah, the sense of loneliness and living off alcohol, keeping a buzz, it's kind of like using a drug to keep you, motivated and not scared and not going insane was really good. And it happens to some real people in real life. So that was a pretty good thing. The scary imagery, like you see some fucking ocean type of shit, like octopuses, mermaids. You don't know what's going on, and there's
yeah.
some really fucking crazy shit. And Robert Pattinson goes fucking insane, man.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. And he fucking just like you can see what that would do to a guy, especially being in there for so long. But
Yeah,
also, one thing I had to point out too is that what I was going to get about the interpretation is that let's just say that, and I'm gonna explain this the most vaguest term I can. There's a biblical similarity with the ending, the way it's kind of interpreted. But I'll leave that for viewers that haven't seen the film. But I'll talk to you about it after we do the review. But let's just say that upon really digging deep, I can see exactly what they were going for with that type of vibe that what leads up to
yeah.
our ending.
I'll have to dig a little bit more deeper because the ending is kind of like The Witch, where it's abrupt and it's supposed to symbolize something. And it's supposed to be like you can have 15 different interpretations to it. I don't know. I kind of got lost a little bit at that towards that end. Very, very early when it just went fucking just batshit. Uh,
Yeah.
but now getting to our cons, I will say that while I thought the pacing was better in this film than The Witch, I did find myself kind of at times getting a little bit bored because I get that we're seeing the guys deteriorate, and it's a story about guys who are claustrophobic, and you see, it's each scene just it does feel at times it drags a little long and rinse and repeat of the same shit over and over and over. Drinking. All right, you're going to work. I'm not going to go in detail of each scene, but there's a lot of taking your time, and I thought it was better than The Witch's pacing, but I still had an issue with the pacing in this film as well.
Yeah, I had that a little bit because there were times where, like you were saying, it does kind of have its rinse and repeat moments. That was like, okay, we kind of already did this here. And while I do get what the movie's kind of going for, because now that I really think about it, but at the same time, it really could have paid just a little bit more. But yeah, it could have been a lot more, edited out, not moved at a faster pace.
Exactly, and not so like they could have done something different each scene instead of repeating the same scene almost. Just to kind of give us that. I will say that while the imagery is pretty cool, I felt like there were some things that were left out. Like they went in great detail telling their stories who they were, but William Defoe's he there's a sense of something much stronger with him,
Yeah,
and
there's
it's like a presence that's questionable if Robert Pattinson was seeing shit or is there something wrong with Defoe himself. And it seems like
the
because he had past mates that something happened, and I'm not going to go in detail. I need to know more detail why that happened with them and what's going on.
that to me, I think was kind of like on the same level with each other because the movie, and then again, we won't spoil anything, but let's just say that both of the characters they're in basically in a gray area. So we'll just
Yeah.
leave it at that. So just to leave it at that. For me, anyway, I thought they were on the same type of level. But
Yeah.
anyway, Yeah, that's really my only type of like complaint is that the movie could have done some better with the pacing, and there could have been some things that they could have like elaborated or spent more time with, just a little bit more on with the lighthouse.
Yeah,
But now
same
that
here.
but that part, I was able to like really subdue my suspension of disbelief and kind of go with it the way that it kind of like resolved itself. So with that,
Exactly.
even though the movie is it did have that problem with some of the pacing, I still overall really enjoyed it a lot, and I think that if I make it, it'll probably make either like probably on my honorable list, probably on best movies of the year.
Probably won't mine, unfortunately. So that being said, I'm going to give the film a compelling grade on a Film Freaks meter.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with the low phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter. And for those of you who have also seen The Lighthouse, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check us on other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. We'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.